When you sign up for a university degree, you probably figure you're just enrolling in a bunch of classes, right? But what if I told you that behind that syllabus, there's this incredible hidden blueprint, a whole architecture that connects every single lecture, every assignment, all the way to your graduation? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover that secret structure. It all starts with this one massive question that every university has to answer. How do you actually prove that a course works? And I don't just mean, did the students get a good grade? I mean, how does a professor prove to the entire world, to employers, to governing bodies, that you are walking out of that classroom with the exact skills they promised you'd learn? It's a much bigger challenge than you might think. Well, the answer comes down to something that's basically a high-stakes academic audit. Yeah, you heard that right. External groups like a national board of accreditation show up, and they don't just take the university's word for it. They demand proof. It is a total moment of truth where every single thing about a course has to be justified with cold, hard data. So, to pass an audit like that, you can't just wing it. No way. You need a blueprint, a really detailed, interconnected plan that shows how every little piece, every single lecture, is like a brick, essential for building the final structure, a truly qualified graduate. Okay, so at the very top level of this blueprint, you have what are called program outcomes, or POs for short. Think of these as the big picture goals, the whole purpose of the building, you could say. They define those broad, essential skills every single graduate from that program needs to have. Things like problem solving, being able to work in a team, and having a solid grasp of core engineering knowledge. So if the program outcomes are the purpose of the whole building, then course outcomes, or COs, are the features of each individual room. These are the specific, and this is the important part, measurable skills you're supposed to get from just one course. We're not talking about some vague goal like understand electronics. No, we're talking about a concrete, testable skill like be able to analyze a MOS transistor circuit. See the difference? And believe it or not, this blueprint gets even more granular. There's this subtle but really important difference between the general program outcomes we just talked about and program-specific outcomes, or PSOs. So while the POs are broad skills for all engineers set by a national board, the PSOs are custom-tailored by the department for a specialized field, like VLSI design. This whole system makes sure you're not just a good engineer in general, but a good kind of engineer. Okay, so we've got this awesome blueprint, right? It connects these huge, broad goals to really specific skills. But how do you prove that connection is actually real? How do you measure what matters? This is where the whole thing really comes to life. The secret is in a process called mapping. It's basically a system where every single course outcome, that one specific skill from your class, is mathematically linked back to those big picture program outcomes. And this isn't just a vague, oh, it kind of relates. No, it's a direct correlation that gets rated on a scale of 1, 2, or 3 from low to high. Now this table, this is the big aha moment. This is where it all clicks. You can see right here how a specific skill, like CO1, analyze circuits, contributes strongly, that's a score of 3, to the big program outcome of knowledge. But at the same time, it only contributes lightly, a 1, to design. This is the hard evidence. It proves that every single part of a course has a very specific, measurable purpose. It's all connected. So how do they actually measure if students are hitting these targets? Well, it's a two-pronged attack. First, there's direct assessment. That's the hard data. It's what you can prove you can do, and it's measured by your grades on exams, assignments, all that stuff. Then there's indirect assessment, which is all about perception, what you and others think and feel. That's gathered from things like student feedback and alumni surveys. You need both to get the full story. But here's the coolest part. The true power of this system isn't just about grading you and moving on. The real point is that this blueprint is not set in stone. It's a living, breathing process, a dynamic feedback loop that's designed to make the education better and better, semester after semester. So here's how that feedback loop actually works in practice. First, the professor measures how will the class achieve those course outcomes. Step 2, they dig into the data and find the gaps. Where did everyone struggle? Then, and this is the most important part, they implement real changes, maybe add a new lesson or tweak an assignment. And finally, they reevaluate the next semester to see if their fix actually worked. It's education that literally adapts. And when they find those gaps, you might think it's about punishing students, but it's the exact opposite. The whole goal is to provide targeted support. If the data shows students are struggling with a specific skill, the response could be to offer extra classes,
simplify an assignment to help build up the basics, or hold special problem-solving sessions. It's all about helping you get there.
So, at the end of the day, this entire complex system of blueprints and data and feedback loops, it all comes down to one thing: you, the student. And the payoff for every single person in that classroom is very real and actually pretty amazing. Because what this data-driven approach does is it allows for a truly personalized education. This same data that flags students who need a little extra help also pinpoints those who are flying ahead. So while some students might get one-on-one mentoring, others are challenged with mini research projects, advanced simulations, and more complex assignments. Everybody gets what they need to succeed. Which brings us right back to where we started, that high-stakes audit. So what's the final piece of evidence? What does a professor bring to the table to prove this incredible system is actually working? Well, it all gets collected in what is basically an evidence locker for the course. It's called the course file, and trust me, it is way more interesting than just a bunch of paperwork. It's the complete story of the course, from beginning to end. It has the syllabus, the COs, that all-important COPO mapping, the lesson plans, the assignments, the test results, and, crucially, the reports on what actions were taken to fix any problems. This file is the ultimate proof that the teaching is intentional. It's measured, and it's always getting better. So the next time you're sitting in a lecture, just think about it for a second. Is this just another Brandon class, or are you part of something much, much bigger? A carefully designed structure, built on a detailed blueprint, where every single piece is there for one reason: to make sure you succeed.